Bosa, if you're enjoying food, that's great. Before we conclude, it's very appropriate and fitting, a privilege for us over the decades in Yeshiva University. Rabbi Blau has been mashgiach. I can tell you from my own experience, davening in the Beis Medrash in YU, hearing a Kriya Shema from Rabbi Blau, there's not much else like it in the world. And the hundreds, if not thousands of Talmidim that have gone through his Dalet Amos is a further testament to the legacy of what this extended family has done for Klal Yisrael. And we're privileged today to hear final words and thoughts from Rabbi Blau. Please rest.
I want to thank everyone for allowing me to participate. My real claim to fame, of course, is that I'm a son-in-law of Rav Teitz and a brother-in-law of Rav Teitz. And I think before most people in this room were born, I was actual principal in JEC between 1970 and 1977. I just want to say a few words about Daf Hashavua in particular, but because there are no coincidences in life, and things are min hashamayim. This morning, there was a bris in the Beis Medrash. One of the Talmidim in the Kollel Elyon, in the highest level Kollel of the yeshiva, made a bris, and the maternal grandmother of the Rachanimo came over to me to remind me, as she did at the wedding a number of years ago, that she was one of the few young people in Elizabeth who were not attending JEC. And Rav Teitz Zatzal had a policy that in order to get everyone to send, he would say, come the first year, we wouldn't charge you for the year. Parents didn't, but she became interested and she came for high school. We went to Bruria after 8th grades in public school in Elizabeth, where there practically weren't any other Jewish children at that time. And now she's the grandmother of the Rachanimo, her son-in-law, learning in the Kollel Elyon. Impact goes on from generation to generation. There's one apparent contradiction in the talk given by Rav Teitz, and that is, what language should the Daf Hashavua have been given? Rav Teitz was adamant that he was going to give his drushos in English. And by the time I joined the family, I would not have known that he was not born in America. His English was so perfect, because he wanted to reach the younger American generation. And yet the Daf Hashavua he gave in Yiddish, in a very pure Litvische Yiddish, very high-level Yiddish. And Rav Teitz indicated one of the explanations, because he wanted to reach out to the older generation that still spoke Yiddish and had gone away from Torah and from mitzvos, to bring them back in a language that related to them. But there's also a second, because the Daf Hashavua was not only listened to here in America. The Daf Hashavua was listened to at different times from people all around the world. And Yiddish at that time was the common Jewish language to reach out to people in many, many countries. speak a little bit about the nature of the learning in Daf Hashavua. Why did the Rav start with Megillah? He started with brachos. So if Teitz understood that it was important that people who learned had a sense of accomplishment. And therefore he would learn mesechtes that were relatively short so that people could attend the siyum. Okay, feel that we've learned an entire mesechta. But he didn't always choose the mesechta. After a few years, and there was already a large following audience of people who learned Daf Hashavua, as he became close to the siyum, he would ask the people to vote. What mesechta do you want to learn next? And then the mesechta that got the most votes would win. I live in Washington Heights. In Washington Heights, there's a well-known German community. It's called the Breuer community after Rabbi Breuer. And of course, they're very organized. So the then president of the Kehillah, Dr. Muller, famous Dr. Muller, came and he presented to my father-in-law a few hundred votes. The whole Kehillah got together and they voted as a group what mesechta they wanted him to learn. People didn't own Gemaras. People didn't have the Sfarim that we have today. So Daf Hashavua printed, there was a Daf Hashavua mesechta printed for every mesechta they were going to learn. And people could buy the Daf Hashavua Gemaros and be part of it. And there were instructions on the front page. And the instructions involved the importance of reviewing and preparing. That it wasn't meant only that people would listen to his explanations. They should review afterward during the week and prepare for the new week that it stayed. It became permanently part of their lives. I'll conclude by pointing out that which we take for granted, that all of modern media can be used to spread Torah, was actually revolutionary. When Rav Teitz started the Daf Hashavua, he had to respond to criticisms. He had to write a tshuva to explain why there's no danger that he'll be teaching Torah to non-Jews, to Christians, all of whom obviously know Yiddish and we're going to listen, or he's going to teach Torah to women who may be listening. Who knows who's going to be listening to the Daf Hashavua? And of course his answer was, let everybody learn Torah. But there's a tshuva even from the Eish on the question of teaching it to non-Jews, who was very close to my father-in-law. And people objected that it's public. It's teaching Torah in the shuk, in the marketplace. And of course he responded, no, it's in their living rooms. When I first started going out with my wife before we got married, so the date night you went out with was Saturday night. But I learned it wasn't for us. Because on Saturday night at 9 o'clock, you had to open up the Gemara and learn the Daf Hashavua. So the Daf Hashavua, Baruch Hashem, is being continued. It's a great honor preserving such an incredible project. And it again continues to spread Torah for people of all ages. And through the learning of Torah, they will come to love Torah and live Torah. Thank you.
If you don't mind, I would like to have the last word. And I think it's singularly appropriate to my father's memory and to the Daf Hashavua as it is done now. The Gemara says that the Jews became wealthy, Moshe Rabbeinu specifically, mipsolas shel luchos, from the broken pieces of the first luchos, which were broken. They were made of precious stone, and from that they became wealthy. So I want to quote something my father said about that, which is most appropriate. He says, Shirei luchos applies not only to precious stones, it applies to time also. You can become wealthy from the broken pieces of time. You have a few minutes to spare here, a few minutes to spare there. You spend them for Torah, and before long you become wealthy. That, I think, is the idea of Daf Hashavua, and it most definitely is a tribute to his memory and to his ideals. And I say it to you, I do that for you too. You want to become wealthy, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours to learn it. They tell about Shlomo Zalman Auerbach that he went through Shisha Sirei Mishnah several times in the time he spent waiting for the bus. You have a few minutes to spare. Instead of wasting it, talk about killing time, and it's very appropriate because time is life. You're killing time, you're killing life. You have a few minutes to spare. Grab a sefer, whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be Gemara, it can be Chumash, it can be Tehillim, whatever it is. And from that, you can truly become wealthy.
Thank you. Just once again, I wanted to thank Rabbi Globman and Rabbi Abrams from Daf Hashavua for joining us today in the Simcha and this commemoration. We're going to bench. After benching, I will ask everybody who's in both of the Daf Hashavua shiurim to please go over there for a picture. We're going to bench now.